Bhagavad Lila, 10th Canto, Chapter 21, Venu Gita. The Gopis glorify the song of Krishna's flute, Venu. This chapter describes how the damsels of Braj, pained by the song of Krishna's flute, repeatedly sing the glories of that Venu. The Gopis glorify the animals, Swargadevis, and Vans of Vrindavan. Although staying far away in the village, the Gopis relate what they see through the transcendental eyes of their hearts, namely, the various charming pastimes Krishna enacts upon entering the forest of Vrindavan. As Krishna entered the forest of Vrindavan, the wind became fragrant and cool by passing over the lotus-filled lakes. Krishna and his cows and cowherd boys entered the forest, permeated by the sweetly scented, gentle, very gentle breeze. As Krishna entered the forest, with its mountains, lakes, rivers, and flowering groves, he skillfully blended his flute song, Venu Gita, with the lovely sounds of Vrindavan's chirping birds and buzzing bees. When Krishna, who is Madhupati, the personification of spring, entered the autumnal forests of Braj, the forest became beautiful with spring flowers. Krishna went along with Balaram and the cowherd boys to herd the cows. Only Krishna played the flute. Therefore the Venu Gita, the song of the flute, came from Krishna's flute alone. When the young ladies in the cowherd village of Braj heard the song of Krishna's flute, which arouses the influence of Cupid, Venu Gitam Smarodayam, some gopis privately describe Krishna's qualities to their intimate friends. The gopis are actually located far away from Krishna in the village of Braj. When the gopis attempted to describe the song of Krishna's flute, they could not do so because their hearts became overcome with strong desires for Krishna. Text 5. Parhapidam natavara vapukarnayo karnikaram vibradvasa kanaka kapisham vajayantim chamalam randran venor adara suddha yupurayan gopavrinder vrindaranyam sapararamanam pravishad gita kirti. Seeing Krishna through the eyes of Bhav, the gopis describe his beauty. Shyam Sundar is entering the forest of Vrindavan, accompanied by his cowherd boyfriends. Shyam wears a peacock feather in his turban, a yellow karnikara flower on his ears, a yellow garment as brilliant as gold, and a heart-stealing multicolored garland strung with 5 kinds of fragrant forest flowers, Vaijayanti Mala. Shyam displays his form as the greatest of dancers and the topmost expert in amorous love. The nectar of Shyam's lips flows through the holes of the flute, and thus the glorious vibrations of Shyam's flute song echo throughout the forest groves. Singing his glories, the cowherd boys follow behind. In this way, Sridham Vrindavan, which is more charming than Vaikuntha, becomes delighted by the touch of Shyam's lotus feet. Krishna was bedecked with a peacock feather and a karnikara flower on his ears. Sometimes Krishna wore one karnikara flower on the left ear and sometimes he wore it on the right ear to express the intoxication of his youth. Since the gopis might have criticized the flute for having holes in it, Krishna filled the flute with the nectar of his lips. Though the Venu, or the flute, is non-living, the touch of the nectar of Krishna's lips brought it to life and empowered that flute to madden the three worlds. Then, considering the flute to be dull, lifeless, and unqualified for such work, the vibration exudes from its holes and enters the ears and minds of the Brajagopis. The flute vibration makes itself successful in accomplishing its purpose of fully exhibiting its powers by conquering the damsels of Braj with Cupid. Vishwanath states, "My only goal in life is the Brajagopis, who, being attracted by the nectar shower from Krishna's flute, ran out of their houses, and whose sweet words repeated here in Venu Gita enable us to relish that nectar too." The gopis said, "O Sakhis, if you simply remain in the shackles of family life, in this material world, what will you ever get to see? The Creator has granted us these eyes, so let us see the most wonderful thing there is to see, Krishna." The gopis were aware that their mothers-in-law or sisters-in-law might hear their romantic words and disapprove. So to hide their true feelings, they said, "Akshanvatam phalam," to see Krishna, is the goal for all persons and not simply ourselves. Krishna's beautiful face gives bliss to everyone. In Vrindavan forest, even the birds and beasts, but not to us, staying so far away in our houses. Those who give up all shyness and steadiness to drink the nectar of Shyam's face playing the flute, herding the cows in the forest along with his friends, they have fortunate senses and not others. Therefore, let us abandon all family tradition, shyness, and self-control. Another gopi replied, "Yes, let us see, touch, hear, and smell Krishna. But how is it possible, since we are so shy?" Another gopi replied, "Shyam's face releases sidelong glances, katakshamoksham, upon anyone who becomes lovingly attracted to him. Shyam will search you out and release the arrow of his enchanting glance. When that arrow of Krishna's glance strikes, you will become agitated with love. Forget all your shyness and abandon your self-control. Then you will look without shyness on your face." Another gopi said, "But how will we deal with this disgrace? We should not go to look at Krishna." A second gopi replied, "No, we should go anyway." And then the first gopi, "Because Krishna is with Baladev, our motive in going to see him will not be fulfilled." The second gopi replied, "Therefore, while remaining concealed behind the kunjas, we can peer through the leaves of the creepers and taste the nectar of Krishna's beauty, hear his singing and see his dancing. Then we can quickly return home." Krishna and the boys decorated themselves with tender mango leaf sprouts, peacock feathers and bunches of flowers in their hair, lotus buds over their ears, a play lotus in the right hand, a garland around the neck, and wearing sewn garments colored red, yellow and black like those of an actor. Krishna and Balaram looked like the best of dancers, arrayed in a colorful dress. Natavaro. Krishna and Balaram danced along with the boys and sometimes sang. Krishna and Balaram were satisfied with the singing of the other boys and they praised them. And they were also proud of their own singing, and they would reply, "No one in the three worlds can sing like us. Who are you insignificant coward boys anyway?" The gopis said, "This flute has created a problem for us, drowning us in an ocean of disgrace. What auspicious activities did the Venu perform to become Krishna's wife? That flute did not do anything auspicious, because, if it did, why did it take birth as a non-moving creature, which is a low birth resulting from a lack of piety? But nevertheless, that inauspicious flute is drinking the nectar of Damodar's lips. Damodaradhara. How can we tolerate that? No, because it is the gopis' right to taste that nectar. After all, Krishna was born as a gopa, and we were born as gopis. Therefore, we have the right to taste those lips, not the flute. Furthermore, the flute has the audacity to manifest as a male, Venu, in form, and still enjoy Krishna. The word Venu is masculine gender. Moreover, this enjoyment of the flute of Krishna's lips is done without marriage, utterly alone and by thievery. The flute then brazenly announces the fact to the real owners of the treasure of Krishna's lips, namely us, by blowing air. It is not just the ordinary sound of blowing air. It is the cries of the bliss the flute experiences in association with Krishna. And we are forced to hear that sound. The flute is enjoying so much nectar from Krishna's lips that it leaves nothing, not even a morsel, though we are the rightful claimants to the nectar of Krishna's lips. That flute is leaving nothing for us, not even his own remnants. Such is his audacity. Others who are devoid of piety also act in the same way. Seeing the flute enjoying the nectar of Krishna's lips, the river becomes happy, blooming with lotuses, standing like hair on her body. The trees pouring out their honey seem to be weeping in bliss. Upon hearing Krishna's glories, the devotees shed tears of joy and experience ripplation. Similarly, upon hearing Krishna's flute song, the rivers and trees are also displaying symptoms of bhav. The rivers are female friends of the flute, and the trees are male friends or messengers. Thus, the flute and the rivers and trees are all our enemies. Therefore, where can we hide the flute so that it does not get the nectar of Krishna's lips? Here the gopis are manifesting a sanchari bhav of envy, which has arisen from their intense mahabhav love for Krishna. Vrindavanam sakhi bhuvo vitanoti kirtim yadevaki sutapadambuja labda lakshmi govinda vena manomattamayura nrityam preksh yadrisan avaratanya samasta sattvam. O Sakhi, Vrindavan is spreading the glory of the earth, having obtained the treasure of the lotus feet of Devaki Nandan. Another name for Yashoda is Devaki. The peacocks dance madly when they hear Govinda's flute. Anumata Mayur Nrityam. And the hilltops, and when other creatures see them from the hilltops, they all become stunned. One Gopi said, the forest of Vrindavan has now become even sweeter because it is the place of Krishna's pastimes. Therefore, let us go there and see that place. There is no fault in doing that. Vrindavan is spreading the glories of the earth, especially as being better than Swarga, because the earth is marked with the symbols of the flag and thunderbolt from the lotus feet of the son of Yashoda. Another Gopi said, it is not possible to find the symbols of Krishna's feet decorating the abode of Vaikuntha, nor is it possible to see such a beautiful cow pasturing area there in Vaikuntha. However, in Vrindavan, the peacocks ask Krishna, hey Govinda, please make us dance. Thus Krishna plays his flute, and the peacocks surround Krishna in a circle and dance madly in time with the rhythm of Sham's melody. And while standing in the middle of the peacocks dancing, Krishna also sings and dances. Then those peacocks who are fully satisfied with Sham's flute recital, out of gratitude, offer for Krishna's pleasure their own divine feathers. In the usual manner of musicians, Krishna gladly accepts the offerings and places a peacock feather upon his turban. Gentle animals, like deer and doves, greatly relish Krishna's transcendental performance, and to get a good view, they flock to the peaks of the hills. Then, as they watch the breathtaking program, they become stunned in ecstasy. Another Gopi said, hey Sakhi, we intensely desire to relish Krishna's dancing, singing, and flute playing, and to see all those beasts, deer, doves, and birds assemble on the hill slopes who have become stunned in bliss. Another Gopi replied, alas, though we are more intelligent than the deer, our life has become useless since we cannot meet Krishna. Less intelligent creatures like beasts and animals have made their lives successful by meeting Krishna. How is that? Oh, we don't have such good fortune. Hearing the sound of the flute, the does worship Krishna with their affectionate glances. Then what can be said of the glances that we intelligent beings have given to Krishna? The gopis were thinking as follows. The doe can approach Krishna along with their husbands, the bucks, because Krishna is the ultimate object of affection for the male deer. The word Krishna Sara means male deer, and also those who take Krishna alone as the essence or object of worship. Because of their affection for Krishna, the bucks are encouraged by seeing their wives attracted to Krishna, and thus consider their household lives fortunate. Indeed, the bucks become joyful upon seeing their wives, the doe, searching after Krishna. And following along with their wives, they urge their wives to run to Krishna. On the other hand, our husbands are jealous of Krishna, and because of their lack of devotion to him, They cannot even stand to smell his fragrance. Therefore, what is the use of our lives? Krishnam nirikshya vanitotsavarupa Shutva chatat kvanita Venu vivikta Gitam Devyo vimana gatayo smaranuna sara Brashyat prasunna kabara mumuhur vinivya. Text 12. One Gopi said, Krishna's beauty and character create a festival for all women. Vanita Utsav Rupashilam. Indeed, when the Swargadevis, flying in the airplanes with their husbands, catch sight of Sham and hear Sham's resonant flute song, their hearts are agitated by Cupid. And as a result, the Swargadevis become so bewildered that the flowers fall out of their hair and their belts of their undergarments become loose. One Gopi said, since we are ordinary gopis and Krishna is a gopa from our village, our conjugal attraction for Krishna is natural. Though Sham is appearing among the human beings, even the demigoddesses become mad after Krishna. Then what is so astonishing that we poor earthly women become completely conquered by Sham's love-laden glances and the nectar of Krishna's flute? Seeing the exquisite form and sterling qualities of Krishna, the heavenly women become blissful, Vanita Utsava. Their hearts overcome with conjugal desire, Smara Nunasar. The flowers fall from their hair as it becomes undone, and their belts loosen. Then the Swargadevis faint and fall from the laps of their husbands, whilst flying in the sky in their vimans. The bewildered celestial damsels depicted in this verse are showing the symptoms of an ecstatic transformation, an anubhav known as motayata. In motayata, when the heroine, Nayaka, sees, remembers, or hears the words of her Nayak, Krishna, lusty desires are aroused in her heart, and she hankers for his association. This is the state of motayata. Another Gopi said, the intelligent demigods, although noting the condition of their wives, do not become envious. Rather, thinking themselves most fortunate, the Devas regularly take their Swargadevis along with them to see Krishna in Vrindavan. But our husbands are envious. Thus, the low-born deer and the high-born Swargadevis are very fortunate. But we poor humans in an intermediate position are the most unfortunate. Using their upraised ears as cups, the cows are drinking the nectar of the flute song flowing out of Krishna's mouth. Krishna Mukha Nirgata Venu Gita. The calves, their mouths full of milk from their mother's moist nipples, stand still as they take Govinda within themselves, to their tear-filled eyes, and embrace him within their hearts. A Gopi said, I cannot say that the bewilderment from Krishna's flute song is generated from the conjugal desires of ladies only, like we gopis and the Swargadevis. Even dumb animals like cows and their calves are affected by the nectar of Krishna's flute. In fear of spilling the nectar, the cows have raised their ears like cups to hear and drink deeply the sweet sound of Krishna's flute. The cause of the cow's bewilderment is not just their Vatsalya Bhav, parental love towards Krishna, because their calves, which are devoid of Vatsalya Bhav, are also bewildered. The calves, having just drunk their mother's milk, perk up their ears to drink the nectar of Krishna's flute song as soon as they hear it. Then the calves stop sucking their mother's nipples. Milk then falls from their open mouths, and they stand as if stunned. The cows stand still as they take Govinda within their hearts through their tear-filled eyes and embrace him out of motherly affection, Vatsalya Bhav. In this way, all living entities have unalloyed pure love for Krishna, and they are all fortunate because they can meet Krishna. Only we gopis are unfortunate because of separation from Sham. One gopi replied, "The calves, who are dumb animals in material consciousness, are only tasting material pleasures. On the other hand, the Atmaram Munis, fixed in transcendental knowledge and renunciation, they cannot be disturbed by Krishna." Another gopi replied, "No, this is not true. Krishna also attracts the Atmaram Munis. Prayo Bhatamba Behaga Muniyo Vanesmin Krishnekshitam Taruditam Kalaveno Gitam." He attracts the Munis with his sweetness. Oh, it is surprising. All these birds of Vrindavan resemble Munis because they live in the forest, keep their eyes closed, observe Maun Brata of silence, and remain motionless, absorbed in samadhi. Perched on the branches of the trees, the birds become ecstatic, listening to Sham's flute. Thus, even great Munis become maddened by Krishna's flute song, which is a completely spiritual vibration. Not only that, Saki, even the branches of the trees are transformed in ecstasy when struck by the vibration of Krishna's flute song, and as a result, they respond by sprouting new leaves out of ecstasy. The sweet vibration of Sham's flute, Kalaveno Gitam, which agitates the whole universe, arises from Krishna alone, not from Vishnu, Brahma, Shiva, or Indra. It is impossible for anyone else to produce such enchanting music. Indra, Brahma, Shiva, and Vishnu, being primordial gods, travel throughout the universe, and they have extensive knowledge of the science of music. And yet, even these great personalities have never heard or composed music like that which emanates from Krishna's flute. Indeed, Saki, the birds are so moved by the unique, blissful sound that in their ecstasy they close their eyes and cling to the branches of the trees in order to avoid falling off the trees. Due to being absorbed in the bliss of Krishna, they have given up all of their talk, even the talk of Munis and about Brahmananda. Krishna is so enchanting that he bewilders each and every member of the female gender. Carrying this fact to its extreme due to the impulse of Madanakya Mahabhav, or Mahabhav, Adiruddha Mahabhav, the gopis speak verse 15. One gopi said, "All the rivers exhibit whirlpools, indicating that their courses have been interrupted by the disturbance of conjugal attraction for Krishna. The rivers, who were female in gender, stopped flowing towards the ocean, their husband, because they have lost all shyness and self-control. As their excess water swells into waves, they embrace the lotus feet of Murari, standing motionless on the river bank. And holding on to Murari's lotus feet, they present offerings of lotus flowers. Yet, the ocean does not harbor any hatred toward those rivers because of their love for Krishna, unlike our husbands. Just see how unfortunate we are. The gopis are lamenting to themselves. Alas, alas, even those who are in the mood of friendship with Krishna, Sakyabhav, the gopas, they have perfected their lives by serving Krishna. Out of prema for his friends, Krishna and Balaram, the cloud expanded himself to shield them from the intense heat of the sun. The cloud thinks of himself as Krishna's friend because they are so similar. Both the cloud and Krishna remove distress by downpours of nectar, ras. The cloud and Krishna are both dark blue in color, and both exhibit lightning and thunder. In Krishna's case, the lightning is his yellow dhoti, and the thunder is his flute playing. Identifying with the mood of friendship, the cloud made a light umbrella with his body composed of a collection of water drops in order to shield his friend Krishna. In this way, the cloud gives pleasure to Krishna, but we poor gopis do not get an opportunity to please him. So to hell with us. Purna pulindya urugaya padabjaraga Shri kunkamena dayatastana manditena Tadarshana smararujas trina rushitena Limpantya anana kucheshu Jahustaradim. The Pulinda women, the Aborigine women of Vrindavan area, became disturbed by lust when they see the grass marked with reddish kumkum powder, Shri Kunkumena. Endowed with the color of Krishna's lotus feet, this powder originally decorated the breasts of his beloveds. And when the Aborigine women smear it on their faces and breasts, they feel fully satisfied and give up all their anxiety. This verse describes the lotus feet of Vrishabhanu Nandini Radha, who have Radha's lotus feet have the power, by even the slightest contact, to induce complete attraction for Krishna, and to raise one to the 7th level of prema called Madana. In Mahabhav, one gopi said, the Pulinda women of Vrindavan have reached perfection, but we have not. Therefore, we want to know what kind of austerities they have performed. Why are they perfect? They smear their faces and breasts with a kumkum that has dyed the feet of Krishna. Where did that kumkum come from? The kumkum that they smeared on their bodies came from the breast of the gopi Krishna was enjoying with, namely Radhika, Dayatastana Manditena, Sri Kumkum. Though we gopis desire to praise Radhika's good fortune of having such exalted attraction to Krishna, out of shyness, we do not specifically mention her name. Though that kumkum is indeed the kumkum of Radha, Shri Kunkumena, Dayatastana Manditena, due to lust, The Pulindas did not even show it proper respect. What did they do? Upon seeing the grass smeared with that kumkum from Radharani, which had fallen from Krishna's feet after he had enjoyed with Radha, the Pulindas became lusty. I can't imagine what would happen if they see Krishna directly and personally. Upon seeing Krishna from a distance, the Pulinda women developed a great desire to smell the fragrance of Krishna's body. So they smeared the kumkum from the grass on their faces. Then, with a desire to relish the enjoyment Krishna engaged in, they smeared that kumkum on their breasts, thinking that their breasts were now being embraced by Krishna. By this action, the pain of their lust was pacified. Indeed, that kumkum has a special power in it. In all our births, we have not received it even once. This verse indicates that the gopis experienced enjoyment through pastimes with Krishna. Therefore, from verse 6 of this chapter, it should be understood that the gopis were embraced by Krishna, who suddenly appeared before them, and thus they began speaking in this chapter. Hantaya Madrabala Haridasa Varyo Yad Rama Krishna Charana Sparasha Pramodha Manam Tanoti Sahago Ganayostayor Yat Paniya Suyavasa Kandara Kandamule. Of all the devotees, this Govardhan hill is the best, Haridas Varya. O Sakhis, this hill supplies Krishna and Balaram and their calves, cows, and cowherd friends with all kinds of necessities. Govardhan hill provides water for drinking, and Govardhan gives very soft grass. Govardhan offers caves, fruits, flowers, and vegetables. In this way, Giri Govardhan offers respects to Krishna. Being touched by the lotus feet of Krishna and Baladev, Govardhan hill appears jubilant. O Sakhis, without taking shelter of a great devotee, our desires will never be fulfilled. We have heard from Gargi about the glories of Hari's devotees, and that Govardhan hill is the best amongst them. Therefore, let us go to Govardhan today, bathe in Manasaganga, and take darshan of Haridev, presiding deity of that place. Certainly, even our elders will not object to this. Moreover, today, Krishna is playing on the slope of Govardhan. The gopis glorify Govardhan hill because Govardhan fulfills the desires of Krishna and fulfills the desires of his companions, and hopefully Govardhan will fulfill the gopis' desires to meet Krishna as well. From the touch of Krishna's lotus feet, the rocks of Govardhan become as soft as mud in order to preserve the unique marks on Krishna's feet, such as the Gode, Ankush, Dwaja, flag, and thunderbolt. Contacting Krishna's lotus feet causes Govardhan to display symptoms of ecstasy, such as perspiration in the form of melting stones, hair standing erect as standing blades of grass, and tears of love as gushing waterfalls. This verse, spoken by Radharani, describes the sweet opulences of Govardhan hill, which offers fragrant, cool water gushing from its waterfalls, which Krishna and Balaram drink and use to wash their feet and mouths. Govardhan offers tasty beverages in the form of honey, mango juice, and pilu juice. And Govardhan hill offers durva grass for ritualistic hand wash, arghya. And Govardhan's soft and succulent grasses nourish the cows and increase milk production. Krishna, Balaram, and the cowherd boys play and lie down and sit in Govardhan's many caves, which are cool in the hot season and warm in the rainy season and dry in the rainy season. Govardhan offers soft edible roots, jewels to decorate the body, flat rocks for sitting, and mirrors in the form of smooth stones. Krishna is most charming and attractive, Ramanam, and he is a source of intimate enjoyment. By the touch of Krishna's feet, such joy springs up in the gopis' hearts. And gopis say, "Furthermore, we should not delay in going to meet this flute player. Since he is following the cows, he may soon wander off to a distant forest, Anavan, Vanam." While Krishna played the flute, he wandered from forest to forest, herding the cows with his friends. This produced a very wonderful scene. What was so wonderful about this scene? When the moving living entities, Gatimatam, heard the sound of Krishna's flute, they became motionless. The non-moving trees adopted the qualities of humans and trembled in ecstasy. The Niryogapash is a rope to restrain the calves at milking time by tying them near the mother or tying the legs of the mother cow together so she doesn't kick the cowherd milkman. That Niryogapash, that rope, had clusters of flowers and pearls at both ends. Sometimes Krishna and Balaram would tie that Niryogapash on their yellow silk turbans as stylish ornaments, thus narrating to one another the playful pastimes of Krishna as he wandered about in the Vrindavan forest. The damsels of Brajabhumi became fully absorbed in thoughts of Krishna. The gopis attained the platform of being filled with Krishna, Tanmayatam, by describing Krishna's flute playing, forest rambling, and cow-herding pastimes. The word in the verse, mita, infers mita rahasi, meeting one another in a secluded place. Thus, following their boyfriend, Krishna, the gopis met their beloved Shyam in a private place and actually engaged in different intimate pastimes with Krishna. Then afterwards, the gopis attained a state of tanmayatam, absorption and ecstatic meditation upon Krishna's pastimes and enchantment and transcendental ecstasy. Because the gopis said later, this can be proved that they, at this Venu Gita junction, in the autumn time, that they actually met with Krishna, can be proved when it's said later in Rasa Panchadaya, chapter 29, verse 36, when the gopis are addressing Krishna. O Padmalochan, O lotus-eyed one, from the time we touched your feet with our hands, we could no longer live with our husbands. So therefore this verse shows, and one can think that it's reasonable to say, on this day, when they spoke Venu Gita, the Brajagopis also enjoyed intimately with Krishna.